Ye keep its grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
I wish I could MLS, but as last week was kind of lost to me too, I don't know that I'd be any more help. And why would you do that? Just why? Apparently Harry Styles, along with being, is he still with Olivia Wilde? I don't know. I don't pay attention much to One Direction or No Direction or Harry Styles. In fact, I'm directionless. But he ran the 2025 Berlin Marathon and achieved his personal best. Again, who runs for fun? This is not something that's normal, at least to me. Harry Styles continues to display his athleticism. On Sunday, September 21st, the three-time Grammy winner ran the Berlin Marathon and completed the 26.2-mile race in 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 13 seconds, marking an average pace of 6.6 minutes and 50 seconds per mile. Yeah, that's never ever. I'd be happy if I got a 12-minute mile. I mean, let's be honest. I'm happy if I run a mile. I used to run 5 miles. I used to be able to do that. Now, not so much. But yeah, I never had a 6-minute mile, not ever in my life. Styles' splits were even as he ran the first half of the marathon in 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 8 seconds, then completed the second half in 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 6 seconds. He was one of 80,000 people signed up to run 26 damn miles. Just mark me safe from any marathons. But there you go. He was running and having fun, and again, running for fun. That's kind of the only reason it's in final form Jesus. This next one, I'm going to need y'all to explain yourselves. I'm going to need some explanation here. Japanese researchers win a LG Nobel Prize for painting cows with zebra stripes. Why didn't I think of this? I could totally, make cows cosplay as other animals. A team of Japanese researchers recently won the satirical IG Nobel Prize for a study that showed, oh, good, it's a satirical prize. I was like, Sweden, you're going to need to explain yourself. Showed that painting cows with zebra-like white stripes significantly protects them from biting flies. Now, the IG Nobel Prize is a satirical award designed to honor achievements that first make people laugh, then make them think. While it might be mistaken for a silly parody, receiving the IG Nobel Prize does require actual scientific work. For example, this year, one award went to a Japanese team of researchers from the Aichi Agricultural Center that carried out wacky experiments to show how zebra-like stripes painted on cows with pater-based paints could protect them from biting flies. Now, researchers observed a reduction in biting flies as much as 50% on the animals that are given white stripes compared to those that were given black stripes or not painted at all. Okay, but they're black cows. Why would you put black stripes on a black cow? I'm not trying to be stupid here, but make it make sense. Now, the biting flies are some of the most damaging pests to cattle, heavily impacting grazing and feeding, and sometimes causing significant stress. Now, this can result in reduced weight gain in beef cattle or milk yields in dairy cows. Now, farmers right now rely on insecticides to protect their cattle, but this increases the risk of insecticide-resistant flies and the contamination of the beef or the meat. Lucky, a few painted stripes. Look out for zebra crows in the Midwest. I need to see this all over the Midwest. Oh God, we have tigers in the Midwest. These Oklahoma tigers aren't going to know what the hell happened. They're like, what in the Lion King is going on here? We got cows that look like zebras, no real zebras. What is going on? I mean, there you go. Now, the Japanese researchers' study expanded on research by an international team of scientists from Hungary, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland, which found that biting flies landed less often on white horses than they did darker color ones. Although the reason for that isn't clearly understood, the difference was significant enough to warrant more research. Because the water based paint washes away after a few weeks, a more permanent solution would be needed for the zebra pattern. Get us the peroxide. We're going to do some frosting streaks. We're going back to the early aughts. We're giving cows streaks. You know, the big old chunky streaks we used to have? And if you did them yourself, you didn't realize that you were supposed to do the underlayer, so you just ended up with a skunk stripe right here if you pulled your hair back. Oh, yes, Mo was sporting that. But there you go. We're going early aughts. We're going chunky streaks on cows, I guess. Well, I mean, we might have found out where Cleopatra was buried, so that's good, I guess. Scientists may have found a key clue in the hunt for Cleopatra's long lost tomb. I mean, she. Sure, it's underwater. That explains so much. They thought she was a witch, she sunk, and they were like, not a witch. Innocent. Scientists may have just made a major discovery in their search for Cleopatra's long lost tomb. Archaeologist Kathleen Martinez, along with the help of famed oceanographer Bob Ballard and a team of underwater researchers, have discovered what may be a sunken port in the depths of the Mediterranean Sea near the ruins of the Taparasis Magna Temple in Egypt. The now submerged structure is close in proximity to a 4,265-foot underground tunnel that connected the temple to the sea. A series of large buildings arranged in rows over 20 feet high was also found, and the underwater structures include polished floors, cement blocks, columns, and smooth stones, along with multiple anchors and storage jars that have been dated to the time of Cleopatra. Now, this does suggest that it could be a port that was once used by the famous Egyptian queen, but that's not her tomb. The discovery supports Martinez's theory that Cleopatra's body was brought to the Taparasis Magna before being laid to rest there, hidden out of reach from the Romans. Now, in her scenario, her remains would have been transported to the area via port, then carried to her final resting place in the temple through the tunnel. Now, many historians believe that Cleopatra was buried with her love, Mark Antony, in Alexandria, though her tomb has never been found there. Okay, well, if you haven't found it and you've just found a port, this is not as helpful as you would think. I hate clickbaity, sciencey articles. They didn't find her tomb. She's just reinforcing her own theories, which could be right, but she doesn't have the evidence to prove them. So, oh, well, we're doing a National Geographic special called Cleopatra's Final Secret that airs on Thursday, September 25th. Well, that explains that. It is on Hulu if you'd like to watch it. There you go. Well, along the lines of Marine World from France, apparently America has its own randy marine animal that needs to maybe chillax. Officials issue a warning as local dolphin Reggie shows an alarming change in behavior. He really doesn't know the harm he could be doing. Reggie, a dolphin that gained fame for engaging with swimmers on multiple occasions off of England's south coast, was not just asking for belly rubs. No, they're kind of like humans. They find certain things pleasurable when they're stroked. Or trying to drown people. And apparently, this is in the UK and not America. But maybe don't play with wild animals. In August, reports surfaced about increasingly close encounters between the solitary male bottlenose dolphin and people who were boating or swimming in Lime Bay or Limey, not sure, off Dorset. Now, in a widely shared video from early August, the dolphin approached a family on a morning swim, nudging them and surfacing behind them in what appeared to be playful behavior. But later in the month, more reports came of a pair of kayaking brothers intervening when the dolphin became boisterous and pushed two women under the water while they were swimming. Liz Sandman, co-founder of the organization Marine Connection, took issue with the explanations that Reggie was merely seeking belly rubs, but also denied that the young, roughly half-ton mammal was out to do harm. Sandman told The Guardian that the hype around the incidents was the worst scenario I've seen in the last 25 years. Over the coming months, he will become larger and he will become more powerful. He really doesn't know the harm he could be doing to us in the water. The situation is becoming dangerous for the swimmers and the dolphin. When animals are accustomed to people and start changing their behaviors, it can impact human safety. So yeah, maybe as fun as like, look, I'm gonna be real with you guys. If Flipper came up and was like, high-fiving me in the water, I don't think I would be of the mindset like this is probably not good for Flipper. That being said, it's the belly rubs, because this is a known phenomenon. Dolphins, male dolphins especially, if you've I've read a lot of stories, but the ones in captivity for like the swim with dolphins thing can become sexually aggressive towards people. So belly rubs is the part that creeps me out about this whole thing. That being said, like I said, if Flipper came up and gave me a high five and I got to do like a whole free willy thing, I probably wouldn't notice the danger either. So I'm not, saying I'm any better than anyone else. Miss JKD Buck, if you're watching this, I'm dressing as a dolphin for Halloween. Possibly a good idea. Well, in our final form Jesus story, I can't tell if I'm proud of this person or just proud of his computer skills and his help desk skills. A London teenager apparently orchestrated a help desk extortion scheme against 47 U.S. companies that netted at least $115 million, says the DOJ. So what you're saying is it was still more helpful than the customer service I have to call? A London teenager is facing a maximum of 95 years in prison for allegedly calling company help desks and convincing employees to reset passwords in a massive campaign to steal data and holding it for ransom. Well, yeah, that could be bad. I thought he like pretended to be a help desk and he's like, "Yes, I can fix your computer," and he was just charging exorbitant fees, which I would pay. I just had Mr. Mo help me set up a business email. So my email on my information has changed. So it's one solely for the channel. So I did have him do that. So I thought he was all over here like computer hacking like Neo. Turns out, no, he was just getting dumb people to change their password and stealing their information, which I'm sure takes some matrixy skills. That being said, probably not worth going to life in federal prison. Now, all told, the scheme allegedly extorted 47 unnamed U.S. entities and hit at least 120 computer networks, including the federal court system. Well, that works. Government, you're doing an awesome job. Your employees took a random call and changed their password. Security. According to prosecutors from the Department of Justice, now a complaint unsealed in New Jersey this week charged Thalia Jubar, 19 with computer and wire fraud, along with 3 counts of conspiracy charges. Now, authorities claimed that Jabbar was allegedly part of a malicious hacking group known as Scattered Spider from May 2022 to September 2025. Now, Jabbar allegedly used aliases including Austin, Brad, and Earth to Star in his role in the group, which could have begun when he was as young as 15 or 16. Now, the complaint lists 47 unnamed companies in the U.S. as victims, including airlines, manufacturers, retailers, 5 tech companies, 3 financial service firms, and dozens of others. The U.S. federal court system also was allegedly targeted in the scheme. Now, the operation was multifaceted according to law enforcement. Jabbar and other unnamed conspirators allegedly contacted company help desks and convinced representatives to reset other user passwords multiple times, in addition to running a password cracking software. Once successfully inside the computer networks, the alleged hackers were able to encrypt or steal data, threatened to delete or publish it unless executives agreed to pay ransom. Now, prosecution claimed that portions of the payments from the victims' companies were traced to a server controlled by Jabbar. Financial service firms allegedly each paid $25 million and $36.2 million in Bitcoin in 2023, some of the highest payments listed in the complaint. Now, on January 8, 2025, Jabbar allegedly contacted U.S. Courts Network help desk and tricked a representative into resetting another person's password, then used it to take over 2 other accounts, including one that belonged to a federal magistrate judge. Now, once Jabbar and the others allegedly gained access to the judge's email, they searched the inbox for terms like subpoena, scattered spider, the name of the other alleged hacker facing charges. A second judge who presided over a case involving an alleged conspirator in Scattered Spider was also targeted. Now, Jabbar and the others allegedly stole 18 megabytes of data, including thousands of names of court employees, job titles, work location, usernames, and cell phones. Jabbar could not be reached for comment. Jabbar is alleged to have participated in a sweeping cyber extortion scheme carried out by a group known as Scattered Spider, which committed at least 120 attacks worldwide and resulted in over $115 million in ransom payments from victims, said Acting Assistant Attorney General Matthew G. Galati of the U.S. Department of Justice. These malicious attacks caused widespread disruption in U.S. business and organizations, including critical infrastructure in the federal court system, highlighting the significant and growing threat posed by brazen cyber criminals. Now, the UK's National Crime Agency and City of London Police did arrest Jabbar at his home address in East London this week. A second teen, Owen Flowers, 18, of West Midlands, was also arrested at home. Now, the 2 teenagers were charged separately for an August 2024 attack on Transport for London, a government agency that oversees trains, buses, taxis, and the London Underground. Now, according to the NCA, the National Crime Agency, both Jabbar and Flowers appeared in Westminster Magistrate Court this week, where Flowers was separately charged with conspiring to damage SSM Healthcare Corporation and Stutter Health, which are both U.S. companies. Now, Jabbar was charged for failing to disclose PINs or passwords for his seized devices. They both remain in custody in the UK, and I don't know how, they're going to get through the process of extraditing him here to America to face federal charges. That being said, maybe if a random person calls you, don't change your password. I'm just throwing that out there. Well, if you're feeling a little nostalgic, if this day and age is a little too much for you,